Hi everybody, welcome, welcome. This is Julie Maxon, the main stamper, and I am live doing my Make It Monday where I case, which is copy and share everything. Sometimes I copy and selectively edit samples from the Stampin' Up! Catalogs so that you can see how they created some of those awesome images that they share with you. And always, always keep your catalogs for future ideas, especially if you keep the stamp set. So the stamp set may retire, and we all know the retiring list is out right now. So lots of things are going to retire, but you're still going to have those stamps and those dies and those punches, and you're going to need ideas. So I always keep all of my old catalogs for ideas, and it's awesome. So I'm showing you how they create them as I come on here every Monday and share a card with you. Today's card, we are going to be using the Welcoming Window bundle. So this is our card, just show you that. And it's really funny because every time I look through the catalog, pick out a bundle to make my card with, I look at the picture and I'm like, well, it's okay. I might change things up. I might do something differently completely. And then I make the card that's in the catalog and I happen to love it. I fall in love with it. It's a really random thing. So I want you to know that when you're looking at the pictures of different projects, sometimes you're going to like it better in person when you're working with the material yourself. So I just wanted to let you know that. Hi, Jess. I'm so glad that you made it. That's awesome. Thanks for hopping on. Hey, everybody, when you jump on, just say hi. Let me know where you're from, whether you're watching live or replay. I just like to know who's hanging out with me in my craft room. And we are going to get over to my workspace. I'm going to talk a little bit about the products that we're using tonight. And then we're going to make a card. Now, this card is pretty easy. This card that I'm going to recreate is pretty simple. And at the end, I have 3 more cards. I did 3 more cards with this bundle to show you. I had a really great time this afternoon playing. So let me get over to the workspace here so we can start looking at what we're working on today. So again, this is in Mondays in March, we have had the Savings Are in Bloom sale inspiring our card making. So this sale will end on March 31st. This is 20% off, 20%, right? Instead of the usual 10%. So there's a great list, and all of these bundles that are on this list will be retiring. After March 31st, they'll still be available till May 2nd, but they're only going to be 10% off, and then supplies will be limited at the end. So we've done quite a few of these. We've been having a good time with our savings and spring savings bundles here. We are working with Welcoming Window. It's on page 15 of the annual catalog, so we're in the annual catalog. Here's my card, and here's the sample. Now this one is on the crease, so it is kind of hard to see it here. And the picture here looks a little bit darker than when I stamped it and worked with it, because I feel like this is a lot darker. I feel like this is a lot darker, but I know that sometimes when you're taking pictures, it's really hard to see what it really, really looks like. But this is the card that we're going to be creating today. And of course, we're using the Welcoming Window stamp set. Now this is a photopolymer stamp set. I've been having a really good time with this afternoon, and it does coordinate with the window flower box dies. So these are all of the dies. I'm going to be using some of them right now with you in a card that we're doing here. And then afterwards, I'm going to show you my other cards and talk to you about some of the other dies that I used. So we're going to actually start with our stamping portion here, and then we'll get to the die cutting. So again, this is a pretty easy card. I'm just setting aside parts and pieces that I'm needing for die cutting. And a lot of it is scrap paper, so it's really nice too. So we're gonna start with a crumb cake base, and we're gonna use this little brick stamp and some crumb cake ink. So we're doing the tone on tone stamping. Now before I start stamping, I just want to make sure that my card is opening in the correct way, so it's not upside down or backwards. Now this really doesn't have an orientation. You can decide which way you want your bricks to go. Some of them kind of taper off on different areas, so that's why I say which way do you want your bricks to go. We're going to start up here at the top, and then we're just going to kind of make a sweeping pattern down. Now some of these will not be seen because they're going to be behind the window. I'm going to come over a little bit more this time so that we're off this way. And to the best of my knowledge, this is pretty much how they did it. So they started at the top, and I just did stamp, stamp, stamp all the way down through. I went over here a little bit farther on this one, and you can see from my My finished card, I started at the top, and of course I swept over, but I kept these two farther this way, and the sample in the catalog has them closer to the right, and then one there on the bottom. So that was as easy as that can get, right? That was pretty simple. I like the tone-on-tone stamping because it's pretty forgiving too, which is really nice. So I can set the card base aside. I'm just going to bring in all my little scraps, and we're going to start stamping all these little things that we're going to need to die cut. Let's make sure everything is in camera here today. I'm hoping my camera is working better. I've been playing with it a little bit. We have Misty Moonlight, and sadly, Misty Moonlight is leaving us very soon. This is a great blue ink, and I know there's more nice blue inks coming, but it's always sad to see one go that you really like. I'm just stamping a tiny little flower pot. There are actually, in the stamp set, 3 different sized flower pots. I'm using the smallest one for this part of the card. And then we're going to bring in gray granite, and we're going to do our picture, and just some nice simple stamping, right? And this, again, this is a one of those stamp sets, the words are in my brain, and it's distinctive. That's what it is. This is a distinctive stamp set, so you can kind of see where there's little parts and pieces that kind of fade in and out. It's meant to look like that when you stamp it. Don't think that it's not stamping fully. It's doing exactly what it wants. And I need gray granite back out. We're going to stamp, this is Pale Papaya, and we're going to stamp this a little bit with our word welcome in the gray granite ink. See if I got that kind of right on there. So this is a 1/2 inch piece of 1/2 inch width of Pale Papaya, and I'm going to end up trimming this when I put it onto my card, so I just have a scrap here. So that's also in gray granite. And next we're going to bring in one of our greens and one of the flowers. Now the awesome thing about this stamp set is there's actually 2 different kinds of greens and then 2 flowers that coordinate exactly. So this flower will coordinate with these greens. This one will coordinate with these greens. And the really genius thing here is that on the insert here, it might be really hard to see, but on the insert here where they actually have little symbols or numbers, I think they're numbers actually, that show you that these 2 go together and then these 2 go together. So when you're using them, you can look at these little symbols that are just kind of right next to their images here, and you'll know which flowers go with which of the green leaves. And that is really, really nice. So I have been playing with these all afternoon, trying out the 2 different leaves, and they each have dies. And then the flowers go right in. It's almost like 2-step stamping, but it's really not, because the flowers are meant to be seated into the green leaves. I'm going to pick this up here. So you can see with the leaves here, you can see there's like 4 open spots right there, like big circles where the flowers are going to fit inside. And we're going to just close this one up. That was Pear Pizzazz, and we're going to bring in So Saffron next, and we're going to do our flowers in So Saffron. So you can see them here, the green and the yellow. Now the hardest part here then is figuring out where on here they have to line up. So it's kind of like, since it's photopolymer, you can kind of turn it around and play puzzles with it and figure out exactly where it needs to go. And once you realize that these little flowers are right over top of these little white spaces, then you know you've got it in the right spot. So I'm just going to line this up a little bit and then come down on it. We'll see how I did. Oh, I did really good on that one. So you can see that they're fit right in there. And how fantastic is that? Now there's a little bit of white still remaining in the flowers. On one of my cards, I actually grabbed a marker out, like an orange marker, a different color marker, and I colored in the center a little bit. So I added extra ink color with a Stampin' Right marker, but that is optional. Now let's see, do we have everything? I think we do. I'm going to just cut these 2 apart. You know what? I'm going to cut one more of these Misty Moonlight pots, because last time I did this with my die, I had trouble getting it to die cut nicely. So I'm just going to do one more little blue flower pot here. If I don't need it, that's great. If I need it, then there you go. Okay, so here's my, if I can flip this back over. All right, and I'm just going to trim this off because this could be another die cut sometime. All right, so I think we are good. I'm going to bring in the die cutting machine next. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way and bring in my cutter. Okay, here's the big guy. Now, the little cutting machine, so the Mini Boss, is on sale this month for 20% off. And I actually ordered that. I don't have one yet. And I'm thinking it might be easier to put it in my camera view here for small dies like this and not take up so much of the screen when I'm doing these here on my videos with you. So on this, I'm cutting out the windowsill, the window box, the flower box, and some of the little brackets that are going to go on my shutters. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to throw in my shutters too. So I'm bringing in some mint macaron. I forgot about that. And these are the little shutters. They've got, so they're going to die cut, and they've also got like a wood grain embossing to them. So they're going to die cut and emboss at the same time, which is really cool. All right, I think I got everybody in here. Now you may notice that it's slightly at an angle. It's not going in straight to my machine. It's a little bit of an angle, and that's going to help to make it go through the machine a little bit nicer and not have that nasty poppy sound at the end. So see how that was like a little bit quieter? Sometimes when you put things through, it really, the plates pop and snap and it's so loud. Now another fun thing about this die, even though it's one piece here, when you die cut it, it comes out as your two separate little shutters, which I think is really, really cool. All right, so I'm gonna just put aside things that I don't need. Now my little window box has been jamming up in my die here, so I'm just gonna run my brush here. It's little tiny holes here that's going to help to release, hopefully help to release it. There it goes. I can see it coming off. I can see it. There it goes. Okay, so here's my little window box. And again, this has the wood grain in it too, so that's really nice that it kind of matches. And okay, let's see if we can get this guy off of here. Here's my little window pane. Again, it's got the wood grain in it. So the whole thing kind of just, it goes together so cohesively. And that's my scrap paper. Now you're going to see here, these are the little brackets that I was talking about, and we need 4 for our card. You can actually, there are 2 sets of these in the dies, so you can do 8 at a time if you need to. And then these little guys, we're going to call these like chiclets. Now these come out, and you could definitely use these on a card if you wanted to. You could also die cut this twice and put different colors in here, maybe like colorful glass, pane glass window, right? You could get different colors here. You could do this a whole bunch of different times. And then when you put this on your card, you could just glue these guys back in. So maybe you've got a pink one, and a purple one, a blue one, etc., etc. But we don't need them for our card today. So I'm just going to scoop these off to the side. I can get them off my plate here. But ideas. I always play with these things, and I have ideas, and I'm like, oh my goodness. All right, we need to die cut our stamped images next. Bring this back in one more time. So again, I got my sandwich here. I've got the base plate, the die cutting shim clear plate, and then I'm going to top this off with our last clear plate. And I'm going to put through the extra pot too, because this die set actually has 2 of the mini pots. Now it's only got 1 of the medium and 1 of the large dies, but it has 2 of the minis. So I'm going to do both of them just to see which one turns out a little bit better. Lining up my picture die, I'm watching for the hole in the middle. And then there are 2, again, there's 2 dies here for the leafy sprigs. So you can see they're a little bit differently shaped. So we just need to pick out the one that we need, which is going to be this one. It's like a puzzle piece. Again, you're just going to turn it around, find the right cutout pattern for it, and line it up. All right, I think everybody's on here pretty good. We're going to cover it and run it and see what happens. Okay, so I'd like to hold these down a little bit and just kind of secure them as much as I can until they get into the machine so that they don't move around too much. And now we're going to take a look to see how they turned out. Now again, the beauty part of this is they're all little tiny pieces of paper, so really it's like scrap paper. So if I had to redo that, I could. So here's my little flower. That turned out pretty good. Oh my goodness, I'm not really happy with my flower pots here. Okay, the picture is good. I'm good with the picture, but I want to show you I have so much trouble with these little pots. Now this one is super crooked. This guy, he's just right out. I am not using him at all. I am going to use this guy, and I think I might grab some color and add some color to some of that white part. Let me move my dies and things aside here. Let me see what I have. What do I have? in the craft room. Misty, Misty, Misty. We're gonna grab this. We're gonna grab, I think I have a sponge. So this is what we're doing. So if you die cut something and you have a lot of white, you can do two things. You can either color in the white, or you can grab your scissors and trim it. Now I don't want to trim it because it is really small already, and I'd like it to kind of stay this size. So instead, I'm gonna hide some of the excess here, and I'm just adding a little bit of ink. Now I could have done that with a marker, I could have done that with a blend, but I had my ink right handy. So there it is, a much nicer looking little flower pot. Let me grab out my sample card here so you can kind of see I did a better die cut on this one, but it was my second attempt and I did run it through separately. So that little pot, this can be just a little difficult sometimes to get things out of there properly. All right, I think we have everything, so now we can start our assembly. So I'm just gonna crease this down a little bit. Oh, this is what we need to do. We need to glue our frame to a scrap piece of paper, and I can see that I've got some blue ink on there for my fingers. Flip it over, this side is good. So I cut this white piece of paper, this is just a scrap, about the same width as my frame, and we're gonna glue this on here so that it has something to sit on. So as you can see in the sample, it just has this nice little white here behind it. And I see that I've got blue, look at this, blue ink everywhere now. Yep, this is a thing. I probably should have grabbed a baby wipe and cleaned off my fingers a little bit. But here we go. We're gonna just put a little bit of glue, and I just the middle and the outside. I'm not doing the inside little rings there. Do I have blue on everything right now? There we go. We'll go with this side. There may be a little bit of blue peeking through here on this one too. I'm looking at my hands now like, how much blue do I have on me? Yeah, blue. Okay, so in theory, we keep everything white. We put this on here, and then we've got this extra bit here that we just are gonna take our paper snips and trim. Now, if you wanted to do this against like a balmy blue, if you wanted it to look kind of like the window glass, you could definitely add a little bit of color behind there. You could use different paper behind there, but this is how we're getting this look for this card, which is going to have little smudges of blue ink all over it, I think. All right, now the window shutters go on, and I'm always confused by this. They go on this way. I always put them on the wrong way, but if they're the kind that would close, in theory, when you flip them over to close them, right, it would be the same shape as the window. So that's how I remember to turn them around, because my thought is that they should be on the opposite sides. Maybe those are the kind of shutters that don't actually close. All right, so I'm going to start by gluing down this piece. And I just remembered that I wanted to use some dimensionals. So we're gonna change this up. This card, which I copied from the catalog, after I put it together part way, I realized like, oh, they used a lot of dimensionals on this. I want to try this tonight when I do this live, and I'm going to do this now. Even though there's glue on here, I'm going to put some dimensionals on here because I really do want to see what this looks like with that instead. So we're changing it up just a little bit. All right, so here we go. Dimensionals for the window, and I'm just kind of making sure it's going to fit here about where I want it to go, which is about right there. All right, then we're going to put dimensionals on these guys too. I think 2 would be good here. Okay, so again, making sure I've got this going the right way. That lines up right here next to the window. And because they're all dimensional, so that they should all be like nice and flat across once I get those on there. 2 more. So again, if you were doing something like this at home and you're like, I don't want to use dimensionals, or you don't have them, my first card here shows you that you can do it all flat and looks just as nice. It really does. So there are all of those. Now we're going to get really crazy and take these little teeny tiny brackets and add a little bit of glue, hopefully just a little bit of glue. So I'm just doing 2 dots, 1 on each end, and I'm going to go ahead and put them right onto the green. I might have to hold it down for just a second. Okay, good. There's a front side and a back side on these, so just make sure if you're using your die cuts, you're always looking for the pretty side up. Okay. Gives me a little wiggle room with the glue so I can move that around a little bit. So I've got this bracket just above this window bar and this one just below the bottom one. And now I'm going to line up the opposite side just the same. So using that space of the window helps to get them straight across. At first I thought, wow, how am I going to get these to look even? Do I need a ruler for that? Because, you know, sometimes it just doesn't ever look even, but the window kind of gives you something to work off of, which is really nice. Okay, I just got this last guy right here. Man, I'm kind of bummed about this blue ink on my card where I didn't want blue ink. I'm wondering if I can almost, yeah, okay. I'm looking at it now and going, well, I think the flower is going to cover up some of that, so that's good. I know there's always little workarounds, right? We'll figure it out as we go. Sometimes I think it's good when I make mistakes while I'm doing this live with you guys so that you can see that first of all, yes, I also make mistakes. And secondly, how do you fix them once you've made that mistake? All right, here is our window box. And I think I'm going to need the little dimensionals for this guy because he looks like he's pretty thin here. So I'm just going to put, I'm going to put 3 across. So the wider ones won't really fit here, but you can definitely cut them in half if you need to. I love having all the different sizes of the dimensionals just so that I know, like, oh, if I've got something small, I can use small ones. If I got something big, I'll use big ones. So far, this is all on dimensionals. This whole thing right now, everything is flat, and then this one is not. So this is all flat. The only thing I put dimensionals on was the little picture and the flowers on this one. So we're gonna do the opposites here. Somewhere I have my welcome words. So my welcome words are going to come across here. And remember, I said this was a scrap, so we're going to do a little cutting. I'm going to trim it. Yeah, we're going to go this way. I like doing this little cut right here on the end. It's fancy and it's also very easy. And then I'm going to cut this right about here. I want it to be long enough to go over to be covered up by my flowers, but not too long that it sticks out, or not too short that you can't see a continuous word that's going across. So I'm just kind of dry fitting here, but I know that my welcome is going to fit right there. So I am going to put down flat. So get some green glue there. We'll put it on there, kind of pull that off that way so that it just kind of comes off the end of the mint macaron shutter. Okay, that's good, good, good. And the little blue flower pot, they did put that one down flat. I like that pop of blue on here. I think it's like kind of unexpected. I like the blue. So we're going to put this guy right about here. And sponging him was the right thing to do. All right, where is my picture? Picture right here, if I can pick it up. Now they did dimensionalize the picture, and I'm just going to put one big one right here in the middle of it. And then we're going to put the picture right here. It kind of covers the pot just a little bit. Hopefully I have enough room for my flowers. I think I do. This is going to work out better. Yep, it is going to work out better. This welcome is actually over a little bit farther than I would like it over here, so I had to move my flowers over farther. This one gives me a little bit more room, and it's going to cover up this little blue smudge right there. I'm like really excited about that. I hope you can tell that I'm excited. See? Workarounds. So beautiful. And there's a little bit of blue in a couple other spots, but I think it will be less noticeable. Now when you're putting your flowers on, make sure you've got the orientation right, because they really do look better right side up. I mean, I guess you could put them on upside down if you wanted to, but maybe right side up is the way to go. And I'm just going to put those on there. Look at how cute. Look at how cute, right? Is this not the cutest? I mean, I like it a lot better than when I looked at it in the catalog. All right, we have one thing left to do, and that is our little sequins here. These are the Artistry Bloom adhesive back sequins, and look, that one popped right off already. We're going to put him right on there then. He's ready to go. All right, so I'm just following along exactly how they did them in the catalog, which is really nice because sometimes thinking about where sequins need to go can be really hard, and I don't like to think that hard. I probably spend more time trying to figure out sequins than anything else when I'm crafting. I don't know about you guys, but that's like the hardest part, I think. Okay, so there we go. Now I have both cards done completely, and probably looking at them flat, you really can't see the difference. I don't know if you can or not. This one has a lot more dimensional, which I actually do like, that it's popped up a little bit. This one is flat, but it's going to be easier to mail. But super simple card tonight, and as promised, okay, so that's our card, right? I gotta show you other cards that I did. Like I said, I am procrastinating today in my craft room. So I'm calling procrastinating staying in my craft room and creating cards instead of doing my taxes, is what I'm supposed to be doing. But anyway, I still have some time left and I really wanted to play. Now I wanted to, I was looking at these dies and I was thinking about using them as a picture frame or a window looking out rather than a window looking in, right? Because there's different ways that you can use them. And I love the horizon paper because it's got some really beautiful pictures in it, right? So the first card that I played with is this card, and what I did was I took a little piece of this horizon paper and I cut it down here, and this is actually this orange paper that creates the background here of my inside wall is again more horizon paper. So I just took the more muted color here and put this on. I die cut out this pale papaya color with this die cut. So the die cut was right here. And then I trimmed this piece a little bit bigger than the opening so that I could put this in. Now this could be anything. I could have used, you know, this piece on it if I wanted it to look like. So whether you think this is like wall art, like a painting, or whether you think it's a window looking out. So just imagine using different scenes from your horizon paper to look out, or to create a window, you know, like a frame for wall art. So what I did for this one is I took, looking for the stamp set, I took this stamp right here and I stamped it 4 times in soft suede ink, and then I die cut it 4 times with this little die cut, and that just creates the little frame. So I put the side ones on first because they're a little bit shorter, and then I put these ones top and bottom so that I could create a frame. And I did the little window box here. I did some two-tone stamping for this picture, which I thought really turned out pretty. And then I just put one of these flowers on the shelf. This is what we just used in our welcome window card too. So this is the same flower right here. Different colors, obviously. This is Mossy Meadow, Pale Papaya, and then this is where I colored in with a marker to color in the insides of the flowers. And then I put this bigger flower pot. This is the largest one down here. This is Cajun Craze. I did the other flower sprig, so you can kind of see the difference between the two here, where they're shaped differently and they have different flowers that go in them. So this is my first card. I really love this card, and I thought, wow, this would be really cute if you're making I'm sorry, not windows. If you're making picture frames and you have like some really cute little images of, you know, pets or kids or whatever, you could make this be like pictures that you would hang on your wall. So that's a great way to use this die set here to create something a little bit different. So that's my other sample. That's one of my other samples. Then next, I went really simple with this one. So I just grabbed, again, I've got this beautiful horizon paper. And this was which was one of the sheets. I can't remember if it was on this side or this side. Probably like right here. Yes. So I just cut a chunk of this off. I put it on an evening evergreen mat. I bumped it a whole thing up with dimensionals, and then I stamped the sentiment from Welcoming Window that says, "Wishing our paths crossed a little more often." And I thought this is a great sentiment. Instead of saying "miss you," wishing our paths crossed a little more often. I thought that was really a nice sentiment. Did this in white embossing powder on the same evening evergreen scrap, and put this on flat here and just a dimensional on this end. So super simple card, but how pretty is that one, right? I love this one. Again, horizon paper. It's so easy. When you're talking about paths, some of this just is very naturey, outdoory. I think this sentiment would work really nicely with a beachy theme too. Okay, my last card that I made today playing with this stamp set is this one. And again, I took a sentiment from the Welcoming Window stamp set. It says "My Sweet Friend" right here. And I did, again, some white embossing. This is on Cajun Craze. And I just took some different papers. This Designer Series paper is from the You're a Peach. This is the Petal Pink from the Family Colors. And again, I've got those little Artistry bloom sequins. This is the largest flower pot. This is the medium flower pot. And again, I did a different sprig. These are Calypso coral flowers. I think that might be Pear Pizzazz, or actually I think that's Old Olive. I think I used Old Olive for that one. So anyway, these are, I was just having so much fun playing with these stamps and dies today. You can see I really was kind of like in the orangey mood here because quite a few of my cards had the orange, and then I've got a little bit here with the greens and whatever, but I just think that they're really super pretty cards. I love this set. So there we go. That is my samples to show you. I see Linda, Rhonda. Hi everybody, thank you so much for watching. Let me know which one of those is your favorite. I had a lot of fun playing with them, so let me know. There's 4 samples here with that same bundle, and they're all entirely different cards, not like the same card, the same card, the same card. So there's a lot of variety there, but let me know which one of those you guys like the most. I have to pick one of them to do a color swap on it and put on Positive Paper Crafters on Wednesday. So give me a shout out, let me know which one of them you'd like to see me do different colors on so that we can do kind of a comparison. Obviously this one right here, I'm not gonna be able to really color swap because there's really not a lot of color going on, right? This is just the white base, green matte, it looks pretty. So probably going to color swap out one of the other 3, and even if this is your favorite, that's okay too. But anyway, let me know what you're thinking in the comments. That was our card tonight. We're about half an hour. I knew that the card that I was going to create was so easy that I'd have time to show you more samples, which I think is really helpful because sometimes you might look at a stamp set and the dies or the punches or whatever, and you're really not sure what to do with them. So I had so much fun today. It's a really good time. So let me know how you guys are loving these cards, and that's what we've got for today. Don't forget that spring sale ends this week. The 31st is Thursday, so it ends on Thursday. So if you want anything for 20% off, now's the time to do it. There's so much on the retiring sale. It's the last chance product sale, so make sure you're checking out that in the online store. Some things are selling out as they go, so kind of keep an eye on things. If there's something you're looking for, let me know and I can help you out with that too. But that's all I've got for today. So everybody, until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye.